Have you ever felt burnt out? Like your creative soul is burnt to a crisp? So you grab your phone and start the doom scroll to find something to set alight that passion for making a cosplay. And that's when you come across it, and you just know that this is your next cosplay.
G'day everyone, so I'm in my PJs, you know what that means, it's time to make a cosplay. And yes indeed, I am doing another Penelope Featherington because I am obsessed. I love her character. I am so excited for season 3 of Bridgerton. I'm so excited for Queen Charlotte, which is coming out beforehand, and I just literally cannot wait. So I'm not gonna yabber on too much like I normally do. I want to show you this, which came in the post today, which is a wonderful package from Super Cheap Fabrics, which contains all of my fabric for this project. That's right. We have the lining, we have the underlayer, and we have the overlayer. That's right, there's 3 different layers to this. Fancy! And I would like to say that this is a collaboration with Super Cheap Fabrics. I told them the idea, they were like, yeah, let's get in on that, and they sent me the fabric. So thank you so much, Super Cheap Fabrics. You know I love you. Everyone here knows that I love you, and I thought that we could open up this fabric together, shall we? And I thought that while I'm doing that, I would explain to you what it is that I'm planning on doing with the fabric and a little bit more about this cosplay. Here is the package. I'm doing a weird squat to make sure that I'm in frame and the package is as well. All right, very carefully. Don't be over eager when cutting because you don't want to cut the fabric. All right, so first fabric out of the gate is the heaviest fabric, which is this gorgeous gold sequin mesh fabric. I adore this. Oh my goodness. Next we have the lining, because this against my body would scratch something chronic, and I didn't know how sheer it was. And then the last fabric is this chiffon. Alright, so I've got the fabrics here in front of me, and what I'm going to say is that these fabrics are gorgeous. I would expect nothing less from Super Cheap Fabrics, to be honest. So I have firstly this sequin fabric, and oh my goodness, it is so beautiful. It is so sparkly. I wanted something that wasn't like just all over sequins. I wanted something that had a bit of a breathing space to it, and this absolutely delivers. And then on top of that is the high flow chiffon, which I've got in this blue. Now I wasn't quite sure because the kind of reference image, there really isn't a lot to go on, okay? It's from a like tiny little screenshot of a morning show, and I'm like, what is that? I don't know. And I made a guess. I thought it was chiffon with sequins underneath, and I was proven right today when I got a copy of the entire clip. And Nicola, the actress who plays Penelope, she lifts up her dress to show that she's wearing like purple pants underneath, but she lifts it up and the chiffon layer and the sequin layer separate. So I was like, yes, called it. So there's chiffon on top of the sequins. So I'm very glad that I made that decision and I went down that road. Now, the high flow chiffon is just such a beautiful weight, and it feels really lovely. It is a really nice chiffon, and it's 100% polyester, which I just feeling this, it's a really good quality chiffon. It's not your cheap chiffon, which I'm very, very glad about. It is going to look beautiful. It's going to drape beautifully. I'm just so excited to use it. The only thing that I'm concerned about is the color. I need to like lay them out properly, have a good look, have a look at the reference image, because I have a feeling that it may be slightly too blue. I'm not sure if it's like a seafoam green or it's more of a blue. It's this really beautiful kind of color in between there. And I am wondering if the blue and the gold together when hanging will give that appearance. So I've got to do that, otherwise we shall see what I can do. And the last piece of fabric is of course the lining. This is just your normal lining. It's a little bit see-through, but that's okay because, you know, it's with all of the slightly see-through fabrics, I think we will be fine. But it is just the right color and it will protect my body from the sequins, which I am probably most concerned about. Those are my fabrics. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drape the gold sequins over my dress form and then put the chiffon over the top to see kind of what it looks like and to figure out how I'm going to kind of make this, whether I'm going to take some sequins off and put it on the top layer just to kind of spruce it up a bit, or whether or not I am going to dye the chiffon slightly. So many questions. The only way I'm going to do this is to get it hung up and look at it in natural light. So let's do that now. So here is the fabric laid out on top of each other. Now, in terms of color, actually not that bad. It's actually pretty close to the picture like this, because I think the gold underneath it is bringing out slightly more of a green tinge to it. The only concern I have is that this is a little bit denser, I think, in terms of see-throughness, sheerness, if you like, that the gold is being a little bit more hidden than what I thought it would be. But that's okay, we will find a way around that. So I'm thinking what I might do is, once it has been made, I may do some excess sequins and just do some little sequins dotted around, just to kind of bring it out more. But of course that will come after I kind of put it all together and see what it looks like as such. But yeah, I think the color is actually not too bad. It's coming up quite grey almost, grey like on camera I think, but it's actually got a bit of a green tinge to it. Like it pulls down here, very much blue, but then with the gold behind it, it definitely has more of a green tinge. I've also now just kind of laid it and like done a little bit of like zhuzhing together. And you can see more of the gold coming through. I guess I'm just gonna have to make it. I'm just gonna have to make it and see how it goes. And funnily enough, this color, when I'm like in real life holding the picture next to it, it honestly is the correct color. I don't know why it's showing up as so white. It's like, I guess because it's so light. Alright, so it's been a couple of days and what I've done is I've been sitting on this and I'm just really concerned that this looks really, really white on top of the gold and it needs to look darker. So I remember that I had this green chiffon, which is too dark for what I want this to be. And the colour, I realised from the reference image, is somewhere in between these two. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to grab some blue and green dye. I've already got some blue, so I just need to go get some green dye. And I'm going to do some tester pieces because I've got a little bit extra of this one. Because this chiffon is just such an absolute dream. It's so lovely to work with. So need to do a quick dye bath just to get the right shade. So that when it lays on top of the gold fabric, it's correct. But yes, you can see that that's just way too dark. Well, not way too dark, but it is too dark, and that's quite a light green. You can see how it pulls over here, and they're very similar kind of colouring. So it's like literally like half a shade. So annoying. Good morning. It is time that we dyed this fabric. So the colour is so close to being perfect, but being the perfectionist that I am, I have decided that I need to dye it like a shade darker. It's ridiculous because like literally like I think that it's going to be a 2-minute, you know, dye job and then it's the right colour. It's so frustrating that it's so close, and I could probably get away with it with just using the chiffon that I've got, but yeah, I just don't wanna do it. So I am going to choose the hard method in life and try and dye synthetic fabric, but that is okay. I picked up this Rit dye, which is a synthetic Rit dye, in tropical teal. And this is actually pretty much the kind of right coloring. It just needs to be a lot lighter than this. And this is the fabric as it currently is. So it's a very, very light blue. And so it just needs to be like a shade or two darker than this and with a tinge of green. So that's why I've picked this one. I've got 2 pieces about this size that I'm gonna do some testers first. Always test when doing dyes. And then I'm gonna lay them on top of the gold once I've rinsed them and, you know, ironed them to see what is the right one. And if I need to do more dye testing. So fingers crossed that this will work. I will check back in with you once I've done my tester pieces and we shall discuss. Alright, so the first tester has been done, and this is why we do testers, because this was 5 minutes and this was 2 minutes. It is way too dark. Both of them are way too dark. I know that they're still wet, but you can just see, like, I've rinsed them out and they're just way too dark. They've gone this really aquamarine, almost completely the color of the bottle. Like 5 minutes, it's completely the color of the bottle. So, okay, change of plans. I'm gonna do another swatch at like 30 seconds and try again. All right. Oh, this is terrifying. Here we go. Here are the dye testers so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the original. This is 10 seconds, sorry, this is dip in, this is 10 seconds, this is 2 minutes, and this is 5 minutes. So these two are way too dark, and it's kind of in between here that I need. So I'm going to go and make the fabric completely soaked, and then literally I'm just gonna chuck it in and then take it out straight away. And hopefully it will be fine. I need to make sure that it's kind of all free. I feel like I'm playing with fire. Technically I am, because I've got a, you know, gas-lit stove. But you know, oh my god, I hate this. I hate this so much. Oh my god. Okay, but yes, I know the color is possible. So it's in between these two here. And it's just, you can see what I mean though. It's like literally like a tiny shade darker. And like for some reason it looks like you can see more of the gold through the slightly darker ones. Anyway, right, let's just do it. Stop procrastinating, just do it. Do it, Curly, let's go. Moment of truth, let's do it. Oh man, I'm so nervous. I've like taken it off the boiler so that way I can just like dunk it in and then chuck it straight back into this tub that I've got. Oh, this is a terrible idea. Okay. How am I going to do this? Right. Okay. In. There we go. Turn it around. There we go. Let's hopefully that works. Oh my god. So welcome to one part of my house that you've never seen before, my laundry. So what I've done is I have rinsed it all out, and then I actually put it into the lovely little washing machine over there. And I did one more rinse and did a spin dry so that I could like wring it out so it wouldn't be dropping water all over my floor. And so now I'm just letting it dry naturally because it's Australia and it's summer, so it should be dry in like an hour. And I'm just leaving it there hung over, and yeah, it's like a little bit darker than what I wanted it to be, but it will still work absolutely fine. It is as if it was 10 seconds. I had the swatches and I was like, it's more like the 10-second one, which is still acceptable. So that's cool. So I'll let this dry and then I will iron it all out and we shall be good to go and keep on creating this dress. I have now washed it and I have dried it and I have it all ironed and it is the perfect color. So I'm very happy with how that is looking on top of the gold there, because it looks incredibly blue when it's all piled up, but on top it's absolutely fine. Let me get the original and I'll show you the difference. So here is the dyed, and then here is the original, which is still a sky blue, even though it looks very, very white. And yes, such a difference, just the right color. When I take that away, chiffon threads everywhere. But yeah, that is the correct color. I'm honestly just thrilled. So now I will go ahead and I will start cutting out the pattern pieces. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get to that tonight or today, but we shall see. All right, it is time to start cutting out some of this fabric. So I have had a look at the reference image again, and what I have found is that the sleeves have no lining to them. You can actually see her like arm underneath it. However, it is quite pronounced, like it's puffy. So I'm guessing that there is some sort of interfacing there. So I think I'll cut out some interfacing for the sleeves and use an adhesive one so that I can put that to the back of the sequin layer, and hopefully that will work. Hopefully I can iron it without, you know, destroying the fabric. Anyway, we'll come across that bridge when we get to it. But I know that there's no lining for the sleeves, and so I just need to do the lining for the bodice and the dress. And then the chiffon and the sequin layers will need one for the bodice, the skirt, and then the sleeves and the sleeve cap. But I haven't worked out the sleeves yet, or the cap. We'll get to that. For now, I'm just gonna cut out the lining, and I'll check back in with you when I figure out the sleeve situation. Yeah, woohoo! I totally have got this figured out. All the pieces are now cut out. I have got the lining, and then on top of it I have cut the sequins, which left an enormous mess, and then the top layer is the chiffon that I have dyed, and it's so soft. Like this chiffon, it's so soft and it moved everywhere. But I'm very happy with how it all turned out. I've also cut out the fusible interfacing for the sleeves. I'm a little worried about how non-sheer that is, but I need it for the structure of the sleeve. There's no other way around it. So it is what it is. I don't think that I mentioned before, but I am going to be using Simplicity 4055, which is now no longer being run, which I think is a huge, huge sadness, because it is a very good, very easy Regency dress to make from this pattern. I've used it now, this will be my 4th dress using this pattern, and I've slightly altered the neckline because I wanted to go quite lower down. I also you know, have changed the sleeves. I've done quite a large puff sleeve, where this puff sleeve is quite small. It's kind of on an angle, don't know what's going on there. I've done that one before, it's fine, but not what I'm going for, like not the look. So I've changed that around. I just know what I need to do to make this, you know, this pattern work for my body, because I've made it a few times now. So rather than making my life hard, I'm just using this pattern again. But yeah, it's a good pattern. So I'm gonna let that hang for a little while, and you know, all of the layers except possibly the lining I imagine will drop, because chiffon loves to drop, and it's netting with all the sequins on it, so that's gonna drop. So I'm gonna leave that be for a little while and come back in a day or two and maybe start sewing it together. Yeah, good times. I'm really not with it tonight. I'm so glad that it's just cutting. Check back in with you soon. Good morning. So it's the next day. I have had sleep. I'm no longer delirious, which is fantastic. I think that what I'm going to do, I'm going to work on the bodice today. I want to let the skirt hang for as long as possible. So I want to try and get the bodice all assembled today, maybe even the sleeves. We shall see. But yeah, definitely not going to touch the skirt today. So let's get cracking. Alright, so I have started by sewing the chiffon overlay on top of the sequins, and then I've done up the back seams and done the shoulder seams. So, and I've done that for the lining as well. So this is what we're working with at the moment. So it's looking like something. Why I've done it this way is because I've noticed on the reference image there is some piping that runs along the neckline, so I want that to be continuous. So I have to do up the shoulder seams, which means that after I do that, that's when I'll do the side seams. And I was looking at like what piping I have, like that I can make the chiffon piping, and I have this, which is the narrowest piece of rope, but I think that that is going to be too thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this yarn in this goldy color. Hopefully it works, and I'm going to probably do like 2 to 4 strands of it, create like a long kind of ropey thing with it, and that should be about half the width of this, which is about right. So I'm gonna do that, and then I will wrap that in chiffon to create the piping, and then I will wedge that between the lining layer and the outer layer, so that I can sew it with a 1.5 seam allowance, and that will give the piping look, and it will all be schmick and beautiful. So yay. Alright, so Terry helped me and we made basically the old school like friendship braid with the threads. There's actually four threads and then they're doubled over, so 8 there. It's about the right thickness, and then I have got a piece of chiffon which is 4 centimeters wide. So that should be 1 centimeter enough to cover that, and then 1.5 centimeter for seam allowance. So I'm gonna sew this in, so it's going to be like that, which is cool because it actually has a little bit of gold coming through it, so it will kind of go with the rest of the dress. So I'm going to do that, and then I can go ahead and start pinning the neck together and then sewing that. Good morning. So I am working on the sleeves today, and I have done kind of one already, sewn it together, but this is what I'm doing first. So I have ironed on the interfacing just to give it a little bit more of a structural support. To be honest, it's not doing a whole heap, but it's better than nothing. And I have wedged it all together with the chiffon layer on top, and I'm sewing that through into something that looks like this. So you can see the gold sparkles underneath it, and I've done a French seam on the inside so that the sequins don't rip up my arm. I have tried it on and it is not as puffy as hers in the reference image, but there is a but. I think that it is going to be close enough. So I think that I can kind of work it so that the puff is mostly gathered at the top, which will give that kind of volume at the top which I need. And also I think that what I'm going to do is I may actually put some elastic into the armband, so that way I can place it a little bit higher up than where it's currently falling. Just to kind of give it a little bit more of a puff as well. And I think that that may be the case in hers as well. I'm not sure. It could be that it's just a well-fitted cuff that has like gone on her arm. But yeah, I think that I might do some elastic just for ease of wear, to be honest. So I'm gonna keep cracking on with this. I'll catch up with you soon. Progress update time. So I have pinned this piece for the cuff, and I still need to sew it all together, and I just kind of wanted to see what it was going to look like. So I have sewn the cuff on this one all together and have pinned it underneath. So I'm going to need to hand stitch that down and then insert the elastic, because it is just too loose and it's definitely not giving me the shape that I want and like the tightness to the arm. So I will be adding elastic to this, but like you can see, like, yeah, it's too low. It needs to be like sitting up here, and that will also help with the poof and the look that I'm going for.
So I am going to do the other sleeve, then I think I'm going to have some lunch and do some hand sewing in front of the TV. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be able to get the sleeves on today. I'm not even going to touch the skirt yet. I'm just, that's another day. Ta-da! So the sleeves are on. It's looking good. They're not quite as puffy as what I would want them to be. And I do think that I'm going to have to probably sew some gold along the kind of edge here and probably along here, just because the gold sequins are not quite shimmering like in this area as much as I need, but it does have a good sparkle in real life through the arms and the chest and everything. So I'm really happy with the overall look of it. But yeah, a few things that I'll need to fix up. Still have to do the back closure, but I will totally do that once I get the skirt sorted. So the next project, part of this project, will definitely be the skirt. It's a new morning and I am not feeling fabulous. I am very, very congested. You can probably hear that in my voice. So I am going to start working on the skirt today. I plan on getting all the different layers French seamed individually to themselves, and then I want to connect the top together, and then I may do the split down the back and then bind that. That's what I'm aiming to get done. I'm just not feeling very well today, so I don't know how much energy I'm gonna have, but we're gonna get cracking and I'll check in with you next time. Hopefully I've done what I've said. It's now time to put in the zip. This is not going to be the prettiest, and certainly if this was going to be a cosplay that I plan on wearing multiple times in high stress environments, I absolutely would, you know, finish the edges better, and I may still go back and do that, but it's not. It is something that I will probably wear a few times and for a limited time only, like to a ball or something, you know, if there will be a Regency ball, that would be lovely. But yeah, so I'm going to put a zip in the back for this one just for ease, and then I'm going to do a few hook and eyes up the top because the zip's a little bit short. But yeah, I'm going to just hand sew that in with some very close stitching because I don't want to use a machine on this. Alright, so here she is on body. She's not fully done up in the back, but the top hook is done and she's kind of zipped up a bit. You can see how it just kind of sparkles. I really like it. It's not a color that I would normally wear on myself, because it's just a very light and not something I gravitate towards, but I really like it. I think it has this simple, elegant nature to it, which I'm really loving. Definitely do want to add the sparkle here and on the cuffs as well, but that's coming later. For the time being, what I'm working on is getting the hem. So I've done the lining layer, and that's quite short. It comes up to about my ankles. Let me just see if I can pull that up to show you. So there's the lining layer, and you can see it's quite short. So I'm doing them each sections differently, and the chiffon will be the longest section. So I'm going to do the sequins now, figure out what that needs to be taken up. But yeah, it's getting there. Ta-da! The hems are complete. I'm very happy with it, as are the dogs. I just need to give it a good iron. So I've done a rolled hem here, a normal hem on the gold, and then a double hem on the lining. And yeah, should get like a little flash of gold as I walk, which will be really nice. Alright, so the dress is done. I finished doing all the hand sewing of the gold sequins just underneath the bust line and also on the cut cap of the sleeves, just to kind of have a little bit more of the gold kind of come through that you see in the very grainy footage that we have seen of this dress. So overall, I absolutely adore this dress. I think it's so
beautiful, it is simple, it is elegant, it's sparkly, and it just is very comfortable to wear. I haven't got it fully done up in the back because of the fact that I can't reach there. I will need Terry to help me with that one. But yeah, overall I think it's really, really lovely. What I need to do now is I believe she's got like little hand mitt things made out of the chiffon, so I've got to make those, and then I also need to restyle the wig. So the wig that I have for Penelope, that's currently in the style of the daisy dress, I'm going to brush that through. It's a very, you know, simple kind of style. I'm not going to go too crazy with that, and then I just need to get some jewelry. So she has, like, from what I can tell, because I'm telling you, the like grainy images are getting on my nerves. It is like a kind of gold diamond kind of necklace, I think. So I'm going to do that. Got to find the matching earrings. English is hard. And then, you know, maybe a clip for the hair. I really don't know what the hair looks like too much at the back. So we're just going to make it a very simple style. But yeah, good times. It feels very like almost Grecian, which is exciting. And this is not a colour that I would normally wear, but I'm actually really digging it. So, alright, let's finish this cosplay then. So next up we are making the kind of little glove things. I'm just using this pattern, I've never used it before. Butterick 5370 version A, which looks pretty much identical to what she's wearing in the pictures, and it's literally two pieces. It's one piece for the main glove and then one piece for the thumb. So I'm going to cut this out and then flip it over and cut up for the other one, and then I'm going to sew it as per the instructions. It doesn't read too hard, but you know, never trust that. So I have started making the gloves, and I'm just not going to do them because frankly they look terrible. So I tried cutting it. There was no directions on the pattern in regards to whether it was on the grain or the cross grain, so I cut it on the grain. And that was just not working. And then they have like a small, medium, large, but like that's only in the length. There's nothing to do with the width or whatever. So I cut it on the bias then, and I had to recut one like glove twice. Once on the like normal grain, and then once on the bias. This is the one on the bias, and I haven't hemmed the top or the bottom, and I'm just like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I think it is so gross looking, and I know she's got it in the picture, but I do not love this. I do not love this at all. I have sewn it with a smaller seam allowance than what it says in the booklet to do. I've done it with a zigzag stitch so that I could get as much stretch as possible and not rip any of the stitches, and even with that, this is what I'm left with, and it just looks very, very gross. And I think even if I made the pattern wider, which I absolutely can do, it wouldn't change the fact that this just makes me look like, you know, some sort of hospital escapee. I don't know, I dislike it. So I think that it would bring down the overall look of the outfit, so I am not going to do these gloves at all. If anything, I'll get some lace gloves and I'll put those on with it, but no, I'm not doing this. And they're so tight, it's hard to get on and off. For something that's so tight, it has zero shape to it whatsoever. So that is a pass. We're just going to do jewelry and hair. It is time to address the wig. So I'm hoping to have more luck with this than I did with the gloves yesterday. I've pulled out my wig that I have for Penelope from the daisy dress, which I absolutely loved, and I still love, and I still need to wear her to a convention or something, I don't know. But I pulled out the wig, and although she's like fantastically styled, she'll need to be restyled anyway. So I need to brush through this wig because there are some areas that definitely need brushing. And I just finished taking out all of the bobby pins. Let me just show you. So this was all of the bobby pins that were in the wig because it was so like curled and like pinned into place. This one's a lot more free flowing, so I'm hoping that after I give it a good comb, I'll be able to gently kind of put it into place. So wish me luck, because as you guys know, if you watch my channel, you know that wigs are not my favorite part. Alright, so I've brushed out the wig, and at the top it looks quite nice, but as always the bottom looks absolutely horrific. So what I'm going to do is tame this basically Merida wig. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try just using some heat to not necessarily straighten it. I think I'm going to try with a curling one first, just to kind of soften those curls a little bit, and to kind of tame these wild wispy bits. I combed as very carefully as I could, and yet it still did this, as you know it does. But I will hit it with the ironing wand and yeah, curling wand, that's the thing. And hopefully I can relax all of this down here so it's less of a frizz ball, and I can then shape it into the shape that I need it to be. So I've just spent like 2 hours going through and just doing this piece by piece, curling the ends mostly, and yeah, it's better. It's not as crazy, and I think it's going to now be workable, hopefully. So I'm gonna have a little break, and then this afternoon I will style it to the best of my ability. But yes, there is still so much volume to this wig, and I don't want to cut too much into it because yeah, I still want to use it for future cosplays, and it's a really nice wig. Alright, so here we have the wig, all completed. The dogs have got something to say about it. It's just kind of loosely pulled back, like her part is more onto this side and like pulled back evenly by the looks of things. But there's some sort of like flower bun thing happening in the back, so that's what I've tried to replicate. Mine has a center part, and the skin for the center part is very, very small, so I can't actually change that. So I've just kind of made it in the middle, and that is what it is. And yeah, I've tried to tame it as much as possible while keeping the curls. It is what it is. And then this is the jewelry. Unfortunately, when I've tried to find the like diamante gold jewelry last night when I went out and had a look through a few different stores, there just wasn't anything that was close, and so I decided I would just raid what I had. So these pieces are actually from my grandmother, so they're silver unfortunately, and they're a bit different, but they were the closest that I had, and I think they'll still work. Lots of sparkle, lots of diamonds, and yeah, so she just needs to go get shopped now in a good way. And cue that. That was the finished product. So Penelope is done. I think that I am not quite happy with the wig in like its current form. It's still Penelope, it's just not quite this dress. I feel like I look a little bit more like Rose from Titanic than I do Penelope, but you know what, it's fine, I'm digging it. I would really like to give a massive shout out to Super Cheap Fabrics, who I worked in collaboration with for this project. The fabrics are just stunning. Like the gold sequins underneath, just, they're so beautiful and actually quite easy to work with. Like, I've used other sequin fabric and I did not enjoy the experience, but this one was pretty straightforward. And as for the chiffon, I will say that this is the most beautiful feeling polyester chiffon that I have ever felt. It is gorgeous. It does not have a sheen, like a sheen, that sort of thing. Or it's very low, should I say. It doesn't look plastic, which is what I find happens with a number of different chiffons that are, you know, 100% synthetic. And yeah, it's very soft. Even after dyeing it and ironing it and working with it, it's kept that really soft appearance. So thank you, Super Cheap. Thank you. I hope that we can work again together on another project. And in regards to how close I got the look and the dress to Penelope's dress, well, I guess that we're actually just gonna have to wait until that comes out. Whenever season 3 is meant to come out, because at the time of recording there is still no official release date for season 3, and I am heartbroken, I tell you, heartbroken. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for coming along on the journey with me. In the comments below, please let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the sequins and chiffon combination, because I am loving it. And make sure that you like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Go check out Super Cheap if you haven't already. They're amazing. They always have sales on. They ship internationally, but especially if you're in Australia or New Zealand, woo, Bob's your uncle. Go get some. All right, thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.
Don't do that face.